This is so jarring. Why did I buy this? I'm about to use like my hand only. Okay, so we are getting ready in our hotel room, about to go to the Overlook Film Festival. Here's my beautiful date, Kayla. Hi. We're excited. So I've never been to a film festival before, or at least not a really large one. Nothing like this. Nicolas Cage is going to be there doing a Q&A, and we have reserved seats. So I hope that we get to film some of it for you guys. Oh, my stupid bra.
I think you need to find a better spot.
Yeah.
Oop, wrong way.
Oops. Going to pick up our film festival badge. I was trying to pick up our film festival badges. We came here earlier and they weren't ready for us because we signed up a little bit too late.
They weren't ready for us.
They weren't,
Clearly.
but we know our way around this time, so, which we did get a little lost earlier, but I think I'll have to just hold it with my hand and put this thing away.
Are you here to pick up passes or you have tickets?
Yeah.
The badges.
People that made it into the world premiere of Renfield, our opening night film here. Applaud once again.
So please welcome first off the screenwriter, Ryan Ridley. And how about director, Mckay? And Dracula. I said it before. Please welcome Nicolas Cage. Thank all of you for coming back to New Orleans, for bringing the movie here at Overlook Film Festival. We really appreciate it. I wanted to start off, I want to ask a question, because I think all three of you had a hand in. But Renfield does such a great job of, acknowledging and drawing inspiration from and referencing just the classic lore of Dracula on screen. But at the same time, you gave yourself so much freedom to just make it your own and do what you wanted with it. So I was wondering if you could kind of talk about how you found that balance of reverence and invention.
I think that's probably starts with Kirkman's treatment in your script.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, it's like, the idea of the ultimate narcissistic human being kind of archetype. And then you just map on Dracula lore on top of that. And that's kind of, I watched a YouTube video. All the best Dracula movies. And guess what was considered the most accurate to the book? A 1971 Hungarian movie you've never heard of. But after that, it was the Coppola one. So anyway, yeah.
I think, it's also, a lot of it was in the script. It's very intuitive to think of Dracula as the boss mouth, and that made a lot of sense. Just really when I was looking at it, and I wanted to make sure that our movie obviously had a lot of love for the past. But I wanted to try to connect to the original Todd Browning, and if the studio would let me, I would have fucking had Nick Cage's Dracula in every version. He would have been Christopher Lee, would have done a Hammer. There would have been a Hammer bit, there would have been Frank Langella bit, there would have been 40 minutes of just stuff like that.
We'll take it.
But we did shoot a lot. Nick Holt shot a lot more stuff. We did a bunch of stuff in the Todd Browning thing. I think hopefully it'll show up recently in the Blu-ray for that.
And Nick, how about you? Which ones were you? Which Draculas were you watching over and over again?
Well, Dracula is a character, as we all know. It's been done many times. It's been done well a few times, but the lion's share, it's been done not so well. And I think the ones that I looked at just as a starting point, were of course the Bela Lugosi one. But Bela, as great as he was, and that wasn't my Dracula. My Dracula was Christopher Lee. I loved him in I loved his 60s hairdo, I loved the clothes, I loved his animality when he was on attack. And I looked at Oldman, I looked at Langella. Langella, I thought, brought a real charm to the Dracula character. But again, that was a starting off point. I had done Vampire's Kiss. A Vampire's Kiss, for some reason, I started thinking about my father, he was a literature professor, and he was also a writer, and he always spoke with distinction. And he was like, Nicholas, let me explain something to you. And Chris said, well, that's a good voice, because we didn't want to do the Transylvanian accent, so I landed on that mid-Atlantic accent that my dad had, and believe it or not, I thought about Anne Bancroft as Mrs. Robinson in The Graduate. She had that mid-Atlantic accent too, and there was something very Dracula seductive about her in that. So those were the two influences that I most looked at. But having said that, there was so much that just occurred on the set. You know, you open yourself up to the imagination, and I was supporting Nick Holt, and I got to watch him. I worked with him on The Weatherman, but in this one I got to see his comedic timing, which he's so gifted with that. It's in his body, that timing. And then he could turn on a dime and be vulnerable. And I thought, okay, well, as a supporting actor, I'm gonna do this dance with him, and he helped me find where I could go. And then Chris was really on point. It's his vision, he's finding the right tonality. You all love the American Werewolf in London, right? Yeah. I saw that in the cinema as a teenager, and that I've always wanted to capture a tonality like that. And this is the first time I think I kind of got close with Chris's direction. He kept us in that zone.
Woo! You talked about being on set, it coming to life and learning new things. What about being here in New Orleans? Like, what did that bring to the film?
I mean, again, when you talk about connection to the past, and the reason to shoot New Orleans is because it's the only city that feels like a European city in the United States. So there was some French and Spanish architecture and that kind of thing, connecting us to so it felt like, again, you're kind of doing something new with Dracula, putting him here in the modern world, but also still kind of, reaching back to where he came from. And then just, the fact that there's, Vampire Cafe, things like that, Anne Rice, and all of that stuff just follows. So, I love New Orleans, so I just wanted to shoot here. So it was selfish.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to be here. This set had to be a lot of fun too. I mean, you've got some amazing talent, both here tonight, but then also like Awkwafina, Ben Schwartzman. I mean, some great comedic performances. How much did you get to stick with the stage, or with what was on the page when you were filming, and how much did you give people just the freedom to play?
I mean, obviously we have a rehearsal.
Yeah.
The best lines were improvised, believe me. And Ben had some amazing stuff.
Ben's amazing. I mean, obviously we're going Ben, we're all really inspired by that, and it was a lot of fun. But I wanted to be able to play around, and it came with some really fun. When he was talking with the voice of his dad, he was just wanted to choose certain words because they just sounded like a little more haughty or a little older sounding, a little more antique sounding. And then just you got Ben Schwartz, you got Awkwafina, you got Mckay, you got Nick Holt. People brought a lot of fun, and I like things to feel really loose, and I wanted to feel like oh, sorry. My voice is really fucked up. I'm really sorry. But I wanted to feel spontaneous, and so we sometimes start with a script and we kind of go away from it. We just keep trying things and fucking around, and that's that's where we kind of had a lot of fun. And then sometimes that would inform stuff. Would come right back to the script. And just you kind of bring it back around to the script, and then it kind of makes things. You kind of deepen the stuff that's going on in the scene. So. But you know, a lot of this last stuff with Nick in particular, was just when he would use his body. He really he just. I think I didn't even realize this until we were talking about these, on the press stuff. But Nosferatu was like a movie you saw when you were 5 years old. And there's just a lot of stuff, just when I look at your, all the stuff you've done in your career, just how you use your body, how you use, your voice and things like that. To me, that I imagine that just had to make a real indelible impression on you.
Absolutely. Sure. I mean, my father we had a little movie projector and a little screen, and he would put it up, and he was showing me Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and Max Schreck's performance in Nosferatu at 5 years old, and let me tell you, it was hard to sleep at that age. I had to put it somewhere. So I think that's really where the idea came to me later, that, why not try to bring a little bit of that flavor back to modern film performance, and that started really with Vampire's Kiss. But I like, that Chris is somebody, he's a director. What I love about working with Chris is first of all, he loves actors, and he does make you feel confident, and he knows what to tell you to make you feel free, and that comes from confidence. I'd already been a fan of his movie, the Lego Batman movie, and Star Wars. And I knew what he could do with that he would bring something, a special tone to this. But for him to let me, I would say, well, what was it that Max Schreck was doing in Nosferatu before he turned into a puff of smoke and he just this little boop? I mean, that's just a simple gesture, but it has so much meaning behind it, and yet it's so abstract. It's just minimal, but it's like dance. And then I wanted to do this posture. Just kind of like a sort of a Jagger, Iggy Pop thing going on, but he was like, well, this is the rock and roll Dracula, Nick. You gotta bring that to this character.
I'd love to bring you guys into the conversation. If anyone has a question, you can raise your hand. First hand I saw was right over there.
I wanted to ask, who do you think would win in a fight? You playing Dracula or you playing Ghost Rider?
Oh dear. Well, you see, the Ghost Rider has a special secret weapon. He has the penance there, you see. And I think if he laid that on Dracula, Dracula would have some serious stuff to sort out. I don't know, but anytime I answer a comic book question, it goes viral. But by the way, this man got a tattoo of this version of Dracula, and it looks incredible. And I need to know the name of your artist, because I might have to pay him a visit myself to get something. That's the attention to detail on that is superb.
See it!
He wants to see it. You gotta see. Come on up. Hope you can get a close-up on this, but this is. Look at this. Look at that artwork. That the attention to detail on that.
His name is Matt Mueller.
Where is he?
Forest, Illinois.
Beautiful, beautiful work, man.
Yes.
You bet.
Now I'll just say, he got a tattoo to get up here, so don't everyone else ask. It's a level of commitment you got to reward. Any other questions? Right here in front, ma'am.
Oh, okay, so that's a great question. So Chris put together just a fantastic team, and I had the good fortune of working with Christian Tinsley, who is a real wizard in the makeup department. And with Chris, we all kind of designed, Christian Tinsley, Chris Mckay, and myself, what this Dracula look would be. So the Christopher Lee thing came into it, but also the teeth. And there were like, was it 4 different looks? 4 different looks. One look was like 8 hours in the chair, which was what we called the Picasso look, where I was really like one ears over here and my face looks like a Picasso painting. That was 8 hours, and I would fall asleep, and it was like this incredible sort of like makeup shiatsu, and they're like touching my face. And Nick, you gotta wake up now. You gotta sit up, Nick. But the teeth, we had different levels of fangs, but it was a lot of ceramic material, and it was very hard to speak through it. So because I wanted to speak with distinction like August Kobla, I had to take the teeth home to the hotel and really practice with it to get some clarity with the vocalizations, but it was a lot of material in my mouth. But did you understand me okay in the movie? Yeah. Okay, good. That's good to hear that. Good.
Did you feel like you discovered things about the character once you got in the full outfit?
I think that, you know, I was always, as you know, I was always fascinated by Lon Chaney Sr. and where he could go. I think all film actors should learn how to apply their own makeup. And the thing about it is when you get the external help, and I'm really saying this, Christian and Lisa Lovas, who did the magnificent wardrobe, all of that, yeah, incredible. All of that was a huge part of the performance, because they put it on me, and then it was like no acting, please. You just sort of look yourself in the mirror and go, wow. And you go inside and you find something to inform that appearance so it feels real, it feels organic. You don't feel like you're faking it.
A lot of the stuff in the end credits is from the camera tests that we did with Nick Holt. So that all of that stuff that Nick's doing there when he's doing Max Shrek stuff and things like that, that's for our camera test when we were all really inspired.
Oh yeah, that was terrific, because it was before it was definitely on, but Chris invited me to his office and he showed me some previs material, and I knew right away he was onto something special. You know, he showed me like the bodies exploding and the different looks for Dracula. And then he had his own little camera, and we just started fooling around, and I started coming up with these moves and thinking about, well, why don't we like go right into the lens like the shark in Jaws and show their teeth? And he was like, oh, I like that, Nick. I do that one again. And so we, before it was definitely, you know, a green light for the two of us working together, we just got into this creative spark together, and there was a flow to it, you know, and I felt free with Chris Mckay, that he would let me go places, and that's always the best feeling when you're making a movie.
I'll go in the far back row there, right? Dead center.
Me?
Yeah.
I heard there was a dance scene. Is that going to be in the Blu-ray?
Yeah, the dance sequence is going to be in the Blu-ray. We shot this really wonderful scene in this alley in Bourbon Street, and we had Jackie Wilson's song "Higher and Higher." It's after Renfield meets Rebecca for the first time, and so he's sort of, you know, he's feeling really great. He goes out in the alley and he starts dancing, and all these other dancers show up. There's 30 dancers, and there's dancing maggots and dancing cockroaches, and dancing flies and things like that. And it was a lot of fun. It was just a little bit, unfortunately, it was a little bit redundant with the scene when he gets his apartment and that sort of thing. And so I think from a pacing standpoint, we had to take it out. But it is going to get the Blu-ray. It won't have Higher and Higher because Universal did not put up money for that. But you can see the dance and all of the dancers, and it turned out really nice. So it was just one of those things where the studio really wanted to make this movie, you know, fast. And so as far as pacing goes, they want to keep it going fast. And so really great. You know, the funny thing is, I pitched that. I said let's do something where there's a countdown, you know, and then people can sync the song to it. And they did not. They're just everyone's so worried about getting sued. So, but there's another. They put a song that sort of sounds like Higher and Higher over there. But yeah, you should turn the sound down. So.
I think we've got time for a few more. I'll go in the back row there. glasses.
Okay, so given how this is a genre film festival, Nick, I know that you, especially in the last few years, you've done a lot of amazing genre films such like Colorado Space and Mandy.
Wow.
What is it as an actor, as a creative and film enthusiast that really draws you to a lot of these genre projects? Is it something that allows you to flex your acting muscles and like bring these amazing visions to life or something like that?
Well, the thing about specifically horror, and we're all horror enthusiasts here, is, you know, I had dreams of what we could do, meaning film actors with film performance. And I was interested in, like, I also had this idea that what you could do in one art form, you could do in another. So if painters could become abstract and expressionistic, so could film actors. But the thing about it is, like, it wouldn't make any sense for me to go into that expressionistic style of acting for a movie like Pig. Because the context of the movie and the situations of the character don't lend itself to that. But in a movie like Vampire's Kiss, where the character is losing his mind, sadly, it's very conceivable that he could begin to think that he's Max Schreck and Nosferatu and start mirroring those moves so I could live my German expressionistic film performance dreams by playing this tragic character in a dark comedy about a man, sadly, who's losing his mind. Conversely, Dracula is a supernatural character who's signed a contract with dark forces, and that frees me up to be like the Iggy Pop. You know, I used to have a fantasy that I was going to go on stage and I was going to be really skinny, and I was just gonna, and the music was going to go boom, boom, boom. I was just going to have a microphone like this, and all I was going to say as a rock star was trick, 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 trick. I wanted to put that move in his movie because I was basically saying trick, but he didn't know that. But the point is, horror frees you so that you can have these wild, surrealistic, expressionistic moves and vocalizations.
Yeah.
I don't want to ignore the balcony.
Thank you. The movie was fantastic. So awesome. I have a question for the writer. Where did this movie come from? Why did you write it? It's so creative. It's so genre specific. Everybody's performance is fantastic. But where did it come from? What started in your head, and why are we here tonight?
Robert Kirkman called me, said, I have an idea. I was like, great, what do I need to do? He goes, write the script for it? I was like, all right. So no, Robert came up with the idea, you know, the core idea of it. But to answer your question, who here is familiar with Dan Harmon? Yeah. I worked with Dan for many years. I don't know if you're aware of Dan's reputation. He could be a tough boss. Nick, you aware of Dan Harmon's reputation?
I know the name, but I can't speak to the reputation.
Well, he could be a tough boss. And now, I, you know, wasn't going to say anything to Dan, but Dan and I had drinks the other day, and his writer friend, he was talking about how he went out with this writer friend. He's like, hey, you see that movie Ridley wrote about, you know, the guy working for Dracula, the world's worst boss, and how horrible that is? Where do you think he came up with that? Now, once again, Robert Kirkman came up with the idea, but yes, I was able to take all of my... I hope this doesn't become a press clip, or I hope this doesn't go Nick Cage talking about Marvel Comics viral. But yes, Dan, you know, inspired me. Yet at the same time, I cannot say that the flip side of it, working for Dan, is of course learning from his genius. Right, everybody? Dan, you happy with that quote?
Didn't the codependent anonymous meetings came from you?
Well, I mean, yeah, in the outline, it was kind of a weird, like, generic, like, lonely person's meeting, and I was like, well, the most obvious, you know, allegory here is between Renfield and Dracula to be the codependency, you know, relationship. So that was kind of an easy thing to map onto this kind of, just the generic way that Renfield is finding victims for Dracula, yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you. Hey, y'all. So, I do TikTok. I do horror TikTok a lot. And so I kind of like explore horror movies all the time. And I really want to know, kind of like her question, you guys brought back a Universal monster into a new age movie. So I was wondering, question for all three of you, what other Universal monster do you think could have a movie similar to Renfield? And if so, which one would you want to do? And that's like Phantom of the Opera.
All of them I think could be modernized in a fun way. I have an idea for a creature from the Black Lagoon movie, but I don't know. And it wouldn't be a love story because that's been done. So it'd have to be, you know, whatever the creature from Black Lagoon is a genuine scary monster. But anyway, I don't want to talk out of turn. It's up to Universal, but yeah, I think that's a fun creature that we haven't seen recently in a very scary way. I mean, Shape of Water is great, but it'd be great to see that kind of as a viscerally scary monster with the kind of horror comedy, you know, angle. If I were to do it,
I thought what they did with the Invisible Man was pretty fantastic. I thought that was a really fun way of that, you know, that's different. Not what you expected, but that was pretty cool.
But I mean, when you say like Renfield, are you talking specifically about the comedy and horror tone?
Yes.
Well, see, American Werewolf in London, to me, I would say The Wolfman, but that did it so deliciously that I don't think you could, I mean, that it's been done in The Wolfman. Maybe Frankenstein, but then you have young Frankenstein. I don't know. That's a hard question because it has been done. So I'm just glad I got to do it in this movie with Nicole and Chris Mckay and Aquafina.
We're glad you got that chance too. Thank you, all of you, for being here tonight. Thank you, Renfield, everyone.
We're gonna go dress up like vampires now.
So there is a follow-up after party, a vampire ball, after the Renfield premiere, which we are still coming down from. That was super exciting. I am super thankful to be a part of it, and thank you, Universal Pictures, for inviting us.
Thank you! Awesome!
You'll see Vampire Us in a second. The movie let out a little bit later than we thought that it would, so we are running late, as per usual. See you soon. I mean, I didn't pick the best hotel, let's be honest. You didn't!
Yeah, this one's way better. Look it drips perfectly. Look at this shit.
It actually does look really fucking good. Sea of Blood, Caleb Boyer. I like the color better. It would be nothing without these contacts.
Look at that.
Love to see it.
Hot.
Yes. That noir. Okay. I would say we're ready for the vampire ball. So, I've never been to Toulouse Theatre, and I wonder how big the ballroom is upstairs, but I guess we're going into the vampire ball, so.